I'm going to show you how to generate practices and tests for the students in your accelerated math program. My kids have already started, so it's not what it's going to look like at the very beginning, but you choose accelerated math and go to your assignment book. You will want to drop down to your class. As you can see, I kind of have a lot of different symbols going on. What I always like to do first is whenever that says assign objectives, I click in on those kids first so I can get their objectives assigned. I usually only do 3 at a time unless it's a very fast worker. Sometimes I'll do up to 5, just kind of depends on that student and what objectives I'm assigning. I also kind of try to be aware and read what it is that I'm assigning them so I know what will be coming up on their AMs. After I've done that, and see, he still popped up that he needed it, so I'll add one more on there. So now he's good to go. What I like to do first is choose up here at the top where you generate assignments for all students with no work. That way everybody has something to work on. Then I click Next. See, I need to go back through to Lucas, Caleb, and Claire. So I'm going to cancel out and go through and assign objectives to them. So we have Lucas, Caleb, and Claire. So we'll go back through. We'll click on Claire, give her, choose Lucas, Caleb, and Claire. So I'm going to unclick these kiddos. So I have those 3 selected. I'm going to choose Assign Objectives, and I'll just keep moving them forward. They're actually all working at the same pace, so I'm going to add 3 more on to those kids. I'll click Assign, then I'll click Done. And now I will go back through, and hopefully this will work where it generates for all students who don't have work. And see, now they have the objectives list that they're going to get practices over. I'll choose Generate, and it will be a moment, and then hopefully it will generate. Maybe. The bigger the file and the more you're generating, obviously, the longer it takes. And we will wait for it. Then I'll print. Make sure I choose two-sided. And then I will print that. So after I've done that, I will return to my assignment book. And then where it has these numbers in parentheses, that means they're ready for a test on a previous assignment. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to select those students that have any number, even if it's just a number 1. I like to generate a test for it. And so I will go through, select those students, and then I will choose Generate Test over here. That means that they've already answered enough correct questions, and so they're ready to test on a subject. So even though most of these kids I'm printing an AM for will have a practice and a test, I always tell them to make sure to do the test first because it's going to be over the types of questions that they just previously answered. And it's way less confusing for them if they're able to do a practice and then a test over the practice, and then a practice and then a test over the practice, if that makes sense to you. And so I need to print my test as well when it loads. Another thing, I always have students do corrections first. I try to pull them up and work with them one-on-one. If they have a lot of corrections, you'll be able to see it on their TOPS report. So then I'll go back to my assignment book, and I need to actually go in on all these students. I'll probably click through individually because sometimes it's just easier, and assign 3 more objectives. That way they're ready for the next one. And go through so all your students will be ready to roll. And again, when they come in to Extra Math, I make sure to hand them the test first. That way they don't have to backtrack at all. But that is just kind of how you keep them rolling on AM. Yeah, thanks.